What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're going to take a look at another DS classic, Wario Stadium at 150cc. On May 11th, 2017, the world record for this course was set at 1 minute 54.212 seconds by the Japanese player Hemi. Just over 4 years later, on May 22nd, 2020, the world record was set at 1 minute 51.790 seconds by the Dutch player Sturftel. That's a 2.4 second improvement and a 2.1% faster time. Let's meet our racers. Our former world record holder Hemi has broken 9 world records on this run only and has spent just over 30 days holding at least one world record. Our current world record holder Sturftel has broken 127 records across 12 unique runs and has spent 777 days holding at least one world record. He also holds 9 current world records, which is a Dutch record and the third most world records owned by one player at a time. Before we get into the loadouts, let's take a look at how this world record got here. At pre-release, the world record was relatively close to the current one given previous pre-release world records. Within a few days, Japanese players Yu and Chirushi brought the record down under 155. Around a month after release, the world record would see another second break and be set at a 153.9 by the Japanese player Duel. After that, Super Effects would run the course and battle a bit with Hemi and Chirushi for the top time while he brought the record down to a low 153 at the end of 2017. 145 days later, Chirushi would break the record and be the first player to go 152. He'd even lower it even further the following days. His reign would end at around a 152.5 and a new Japanese player would take over. Komachi continued to shave the smallest amounts off his world record and wanted to bring it down under 152. He'd get a mere 58 milliseconds away before Sturftel came in and got the first 151, and continued to lower the time from there. In total, the world record was broken 72 times by 7 different players. Now, we've actually got some parity in these loadouts today. Hemi goes with the combo of Wario driving the Sports Coupe, Azure Roller Tires, and the Cloud Glider. Sturftel chooses the combo of Dry Bowser driving the Ink Striker, Azure Roller Tires, and the Cloud Glider. Now, I know I just said that there's parity with these loadouts, but surprisingly, the character, cart, and wheel choices yield the exact same stats for both players. Only difference comes with the glider. Interestingly, it's Hemi that comes away with the boost to acceleration and mini turbo stats with his pick of the Cloud Glider. However, Sturftel has slightly better top speed and handling, which make up for the lack of mini turbo. Let's take a look at the race. This course is the embodiment of everything you wanted out of a dirt track when you were 8 years old out quadding on a hot afternoon with your family. Each section has something different to offer and a different way of approaching it. Hemi starts off the race with a rocket start and takes a tight drift around the first turn, followed by a slightly wider one to pick up the first 4 coins before hitting a jump boost and taking a pretty straight line through the mud pit, hitting every zipper through the end of this section. Sturftel starts off the same way and gets that tight turn at the beginning and the 4 coins before the zipper ramp. After he lands and starts on the zippers, he charges up a drift after the first one and carries it across 2 more before getting a mini turbo and a jump boost on the last zipper. This move gave him a little extra boost to be ahead of Hemi by 0.2 of a second going into the platform section. Both players grab a mini turbo right out of the mud pit before 2 zipper ramps where they charge up a mini turbo and release it in the air before landing. They start charging another one off the second ramp and land with a super mini turbo before the platform. Here we see both players cut the first turn out. Hemi doesn't cut the second turn while Sturftel does, which ultimately puts him ahead of Hemi by nearly half of a second going into the tank section. Hemi grabs a jump boost off the platform and immediately takes a right turn before the first of 3 zipper ramps. On the second one, he begins charging up a mini turbo through the third one and carries it all the way to the shroom spot, a dirt patch near the last turn. He'll use his mushroom and the speed of the ultra mini turbo to come flying through the finish line to close out lap 1. Sturftel starts off the same way, but after the first zipper ramp, he drives over the second one and begins charging up his drift on the third one. This allows him to take a tighter cut through the dirt patch, I think, and get through this section faster thanks to his higher top speed. He'll drift all the way off the glider ramp and fly all the way to the finish line where he now leads by over 0.6 of a second going into lap 2. The only change for Hemi in this section is that he takes the second turn extremely tight and carries more speed through the zippers thanks to those 10 coins he picked up on the first lap. The same is true for Sturftel. No coins to collect means taking every turn you took wide on lap 1 extremely tight for the following laps. After that, we see the same jump boost and zipper strat, which all contribute to Sturftel leading by almost a full second at the end of the mud pit section. The platform section has 2 major things going on, so let's dissect each of them. Off the first zipper ramp, both of our racers charge up a mini turbo and release it in midair to gain a small boost. We don't see a jump boost here because it means you're in the air longer and lose time, even with that boost. After that, they do the same thing off the second zipper ramp, but release it once it becomes a super mini turbo upon hitting the ground. This is again to carry more speed. The second thing that happens is this cut on the platform turns here. It's clear that both racers do an excellent job at pulling this off and cut out quite a decent chunk of the turn for a mini turbo cut. This saves so much time that Sturfel decides to do it on the second turn, putting him ahead by over 1.2 seconds at the end of the platform section. The interesting thing about Hemi's approach to this section is that after he hits all the zipper ramps, he's almost perpendicular to the wall before the dirt patch cut. Ideally, this would allow for him to turn less and stay on a good line without even having to adjust before the glider ramp, but this was found to be not as fast as what Sturfel does. Instead of being perpendicular to the wall, he stays right in the ballpark of 55 to 65 degrees to the wall, which allow him to perfectly slip into the optimal line through the shroom spot and carry more speed. This works better because he's not overfitting the entry point. Basically what I'm saying is better entry equals faster. After 2 laps, Sturfel has put over 1.5 seconds between him and Hemi. Lap 3 is the same as lap 2, and I think I've gotten specific enough in this episode, so I'm going to take a moment to throw some updates at you guys. First and foremost, we've surpassed 100 subscribers and are growing at what I consider to be an exponential pace. Thank you for all the support, it truly means a lot to me. I wouldn't be where I am without you guys. Second, I'm both happy and sad to announce that I'll be taking another break from this series after episode 20. I love the direction these videos are going, but I still think it's healthy to step away every now and then. Expect these 10 episode seasons to be the norm because it makes me feel like a real TV producer. Stay tuned for more updates. Bam! Just like that, we're at the end of the course, where it's clearly no surprise that Sturfel's small gains on every part of the course helped him drop a time that is nearly 2.5 seconds faster than Hemi's former world record. Even though these runs were surprisingly similar in most areas, Sturfel comes away with the dub because of his ability to carry speed better, take better lines, and make small gains all throughout the course. I wish I could have had Sturfel himself on the show, but unfortunately we couldn't make that happen this time. Let's take a look at the best known splits. All 3 best known lap splits are owned by Sturfel and are spread out across 2, maybe 3 runs. Their sum time is only 125 milliseconds faster than his world record, which means it's pretty well optimized, but there's still those small areas for improvement. But it seems that only Sturfel can drive that improvement. Let's see who could potentially challenge him for the top time. Without a doubt, one of the most diverse leaderboards I've covered in this series. Sturfel sits alone with the only 151 in the world, and a few tenths behind him is the Japanese record holder Estelle. In third, we have Komachi just a few hundredths off the national record. Fourth and fifth place are a pair of 152.1s owned by Koha and Yume. Our next 5 players are separated by less than half a tenth of a second and include a good collection of Japanese players such as Crack, TT, and Inami. Sturfel hasn't been the only 151 for very long. I predict we'll see some more players dip under and maybe even pick off the top time little by little. But Sturfel does own the best known splits, so maybe nobody will ever catch him. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. That's all for episode 18. Sturfel, I'm sorry if I was mispronouncing your name, I just went with what Google told me, so blame Larry Page for that one. As always, if you enjoyed this analysis, like and share the video with your friends, and comment below which course you want me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.